Okay, welcome back to the CINDERS Foundation, the fundamental strength training program for mental health. And we're going through the 6 core compound movement patterns. And this one is going to be the vertical pulling pattern. And so when I discussed what I define as vertical versus horizontal, really vertical is pretty much going to be straight overhead, maybe slightly in front. And everything else is going to be horizontal. So these are all going to be kind of rows, pulling your shoulder blades back, things like that. Vertical pulling is going to be directly overhead. So probably the most obvious exercise in terms of being directly overhead would be a pull-up or a chin-up. You can do it either way. So you can have your hands over the top of the bar. This is a pull-up. You can have them underneath like this. That's a chin-up. And then we're going to pull up and come back down. So that's kind of the fundamental one. But obviously not everyone is strong enough to do that, or not strong enough to do that in a rep range that kind of gives you the results you're looking for in terms of your goals. And so a lot of times what you'll see people do is the lat pull down. This is very common at commercial gyms. You'll see them all over the place. And this is where you're doing the same exact movement, but on a machine. And so we've got a bar that looks like this. And I'm not going to throw any weight on here right now, just for the purposes of this exercise to explain what we're doing here. But if you can imagine that I have some weight on here, and generally for myself, I need to sit on the ground for my particular setup, but usually the machine's going to have a little bench for you. You're going to sit down at the machine and you're going to do that exact same movement, where it's going to be, again, either directly overhead or slightly in front, and you're going to pull down like this. So that's the fundamental movement pattern. And again, we have the variations that we have to do with how close or far apart our hands are, whether or not we have a pronated grip or a supinated grip or a neutral grip. So you can do vertical pulls all the way out here, do them all the way in here, somewhere in the middle, flip it over. The other thing you can do that's important to remember is you can do a neutral grip like this and get a vertical pull this way. And then I think the last thing I wanted to touch on with this particular one, again, it's pretty simple. There's obviously a ton of variation. You could go single arm vertical pull downs and things like that. Tons of variation, lots of different options. But the road to a pull-up, I think, is really beneficial to discuss too. So there's a couple different things that are really helpful. The first is just getting used to hanging, just dead hanging from a bar. Just a little bit of that, a few seconds here and there. It's a great place to start. And then we can add into that what they call scapular depressions. Yeah, depression. So what I'm going to do is my shoulders are up by my ears, and I'm going to pull my shoulders down. Right? So I'm starting to engage my lats here. That's a great exercise. It's going to actually train the lats the way that you're looking for too. So we do that quite a bit. And then the last one is going to be pull-up negatives. So I have to jump a little bit here. You could step up a little bit higher on something, but you're just going to start from the top and you go down as slow as you can, and that's a rep. So we got 1, and we're coming down as slow as possible, and that's a rep. Then you would jump back up and do 3 to 5 of those, just holding yourself, coming down really slowly. And ultimately what you're going to start to be able to do is combine the two, right? So I built the strength on that eccentric on the way down, and I'm starting to build concentric strength with my scap retractions, and eventually you'll be able to go all the way up. So that's kind of the road to a pull-up, and that's a great way to do it. Like, I feel like what I would probably do if I was trying to learn how to do a pull-up is I would start with a couple of those. I'd start with a couple of probably if I was strong enough to do the hangs all the way from the top, I'd do probably 3 sets of 2 to 3 reps going really slow on the way down, trying to build that strength. And I maybe do 2 sets of 5 to 10 scap retractions, or work your way up to that. And then I maybe go do some lat pull downs to get used to the full range of motion until it feels like I can start to get a pull up done. And then in that case, if I could get a pull up, I maybe do 2 pull ups, a good chunk of rest in between, go hit the lat pull downs, and you just kind of keep progressing until you're hitting a little bit more pull ups. It's a great movement. It's a good way to be able to be in control of your body weights and feel strong. So the vertical pull, it's good stuff.